Max, I thought it would be fun for you and I to do a project together, and we'll make something out of wood. Now, I'm not in Phoenix or Los Angeles with you, so I thought we could do this long distance by making a movie about it. So I have a board here. It's a nice board. It's all cut off nice and straight, and it's a thin board, so it makes it easier for us to cut it. And I'm going to use this thing on here. This is a T-square, and it'll slide up and down and make a nice straight line across here with my pencil so that I can draw things for you there. And what I'm going to draw is an M, because M is the first letter in Max's name. So you and I and everybody else will know that an M stands for Max, that an M means Max, and it's Max's M. Max, here's our board, and on the board I've got a T-square. This is kind of like a thing that is real straight, and it helps me draw straight lines. And it can slide along the edge of the board like this so that I can make a very straight line. So here I am drawing on this. I've got a pencil in my hand. Here's my ruler that slides along the board, and I'm going to draw a nice line across the bottom of this, and that's going to help me tell what the top and the bottom of your letter M is. So now I'm drawing other parts of the M, Max, and see, I'm taking my pencil and this straight ruler to draw them until we get just exactly the right M for Max. So now, Max, I'm going to cut off the part of the board that we're going to use to make the M. I've got something in my ears because I'm going to use a loud saw, and I don't want the loud noise to hurt my ears, and I'm going to put on some glasses so I don't get any of the little pieces of wood in my eye or anything else. Now, it's going to make a loud noise. I'm putting it right here on the saw, and I'm going to just cut it off right here. Watch this. There we go. We cut it all off, and I was real careful. Did you see all the smoke and the wood coming out when I cut it? So here's our drawing of the letter M on a piece of wood. See, my finger goes up and then down to the middle and then up and then down again. And that's how you make an M to start writing Max's name. Next thing we're going to do is cut out the M. To cut out the M, Max, I'm going to use what's called a jigsaw. And this is a motor, and it makes this little sharp thing right here go very fast, and that's what will cut the wood. And see, if I take this out and we move it somewhere else, here are a whole bunch of other little sharp blades for the saw. That's what they look like, and I can take them in and out. Here's a blade, and I could put this blade right in the saw and then make it cut. And sometimes I use different blades for different kinds of things that I have to cut. So there's the saw on the workbench, and the next thing I'm going to do, here's the M, and I'm going to have a thing that helps hold the M down, and you'll see what I mean, and then I can cut it easier. So here's the thing that holds the M down. It's called a clamp, and I've built that onto this table that I use for making things. We call the table a workbench. And I can turn this, and it'll tighten things up on the here M. I put Max's M inside the clamp, and I'm tightening this clamp so that it'll hold the M really tight, and it won't move while I'm cutting it with the saw. So here's my saw, Max, and I'm going to put stuff back in my ears, a little thing to keep me from hearing the loud noises too much. And listen to this saw. It makes a different kind of noise than the first saw we used, but I can cut on the wood with this now. Watch how I do this. I have to cut very carefully along the lines that I made. Did you hear that? That's how I cut with this, and I'll show you more after I've cut out more of the M for it. Look at Max's M. It's still in the clamp right here. I've got it nice and tight to hold it, but look at this. I've cut a whole piece out with the saw, so there's a piece of wood that's gone. And you can see how the M goes up and down and up and then down again to make the M. And we've got to cut out these other parts too, so we've got a lot more cutting to do. Max, now look what we've done. We've cut a whole line all the way here, almost up to there, with the saw. So this piece is ready to come out. And I'm going to break it off so you can just see how it would come out. See this? Now it's really starting to look like an M. Up, down, up again, and down. See? But we've still got some more things we've got to cut out. I've turned the M around, Max, so that this part right here is the top, but it's still in the clamp. And here's my saw, see? And I'm going to cut this line right here with the saw. So I'll show you then how that gets cut, and then we have to cut this one, and it'll take out this piece here and really start to look like an M. Look at that, Max. We're still in the clamp in the same place, but we cut out this piece here, and the piece fell on the floor. See it down there? And so now we've got the up, down, up, and down, and it really looks like an M for Max's name now. So this time, Max, I took my saw and I made a little tiny cut with the saw there and a little tiny one there, and then I'm going to take the saw and cut all the way up here between those two, and that just makes a little part to make the M look prettier. And over here, see, I've got it all drawn in, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side too, but I have to turn the M around so I don't cut my table. All I want to cut is the M. There it is. You can see I cut between those two little lines I'd made, and now we've got these nice little things on the top and the bottom of the M that make it look prettier. Those are called serifs. And I'm going to do the same thing on this, Max. Here's our M, still in the clamp, but I've turned it around again. And look at all the pieces on the floor. And all this is sawdust. See, it's little tiny pieces of wood from where the saw cut it. And here's the saw. It's kind of rough in here where the wood was cut by the saw. Sorry, that's not the saw, that's the M. And there is where the wood was kind of cut by the saw. So we're going to take your M out of the clamp now. We'll undo it this way. And look, we can just slide the M out. And here is Max's M. Look at that. How does that look? Now we've got to make it smooth, and then we'll have to paint it, and it'll be all ready to be an M for Max. Now look at this, Max. I'm going to show you all the pieces that I cut. Each one of these little lines is where I cut with the saw that I showed you. Now there's a piece, see, we cut that. And then look at some of these others here. Here's another piece I cut out. And here's a piece right here. This one comes out just like this. And here's another piece right here. They're a little hard for me to get out the way I'm holding the camera. But there's another piece, and then this piece. And when we cut out all those pieces, you can see exactly how it makes an M. Here we are again, Max, and now what we're going to do is I've got some sandpaper here. It's like a piece of paper, but it feels like sand on it stuck to the paper, and that's what we're going to smooth out the M with. If we look here, look at this part of it. See how that's all kind of rough right there. Feels funny when I touch it, not smooth like this part. And I'm going to take the sandpaper and I'm going to sand off that rough part on both sides there. Now look at it. See how nice and smooth that is. All those little things that stuck out. There's a little bit up here. I have to kind of, that's a harder place to get at it. But I can get it there too, see? Now it's all smooth all the way down. That makes it easier to paint and look better. Here's another little thing I can use. This has a little bit of sandpaper on the end on this round thing, and it can go around and around and around. And it has a motor, so it can go real fast. You hear that noise? And I can make it go faster and faster. Real fast. And I can use this to sand the end too. See, watch this. I just make it go around and around. And I can smooth out some of the areas that aren't right. Here's a little area that we can smooth out. And just make it look nice. If we look at the M here, there's a little part of the M right here that isn't cut out just exactly the same as this one. So I'm going to use this little tiny saw called a scroll saw, and I'm going to cut that part out. The saw is going up and down real fast, and I'm just going to use it to cut just a little bit of this out. There we go. Now it's better. Looks much more like the other side over here, see? Right here. This part is where I cut it out. So Max, here's your M. It's all nice and smooth all along here where I've put the sandpaper on it. I've used that, and I've used the grinding tool that I showed you, and I've cut everything out. So now I need to know what color you'd like me to make your M. You can tell your mom, and she can send me a message, and then I'll paint it. And when I come out to see you in about a month, actually less than that, then I'll bring it to you so you can see it.